Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to At the Cabin. We have the 4th episode of Helix Sessions at the Cabin coming at you guys today. In New England, it's a nice snowy day, so we're staying inside. Figure what better way to spend the day than to build a new rig. So today we're going to be looking at the ANGL Meteor amp model, and that's based on the ENGL Fireball 100. I've never used this amp or cab combo before, so I'm challenging myself again, and I'm excited to look into it because I know it's a great amp and it creates some good high gain tones. So without any further ado, let's hop right on in. All right, guys, so as always, I like to always go to helixhelp.com/models to look up the amp and the cabs and anything that I'm going to be using just to get some background on it, see if there's any tips that are given through the site. As stated, I'm using the ANGL Meteor amp model today based on the ENGL Fireball 100. And as far as notable users that have viewed this amp, Marty Friedman, Richard Z. Krusp of Rammstein, Dan Donegan Disturbed, and many other artists. By the way, I probably butchered all of their names. And the cab that accompanies the ANGL Meteor is the 4x12 XXL V30 cab, based on the 4x12 ANGL XXL V30. Alrighty, let's hop right on into Helix Edit here and get to work. I'm gonna bring in the amp and the cab blocks on 2 separate blocks on the first signal chain there. Ooh. Well, I don't have my cab in there yet, so let's see what that sounds like once I put a cab on it. So I did tune down to drop D today, guys. Under the Helix Help section, it said that it's great for drop D tones, so I tuned down to drop D. All right, guys, so before I get into anything, here's what I'm working with for a dry signal tone. And now let's bypass the amp in the cab. This is going to be a fun video. That noise floor is up really high. You can tell this is a very high gain amp. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the input gate on. I want to get rid of that noise floor, but I don't want to bring it down so low that I'm losing quality of my tone. So let's put it at about 63. Let's bring that decay time down to about 150 milliseconds. See how that sounds. All right, so that will work. Let's go into the cab, see what we start with here. And, oh, it comes with a 160 ribbon mic. So the 160 and the 121 are 2 of my favorite mics. I've been trying to challenge myself to using equipment and things in models that I have never used before. But if it comes with it, I'm not going to swim against the stream here. I'm just going to go with what it comes with. I do have a loop created, and we will be doing the standard process where I run a lot of my different changes through a loop. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to push the position all the way back to center, and let's bring that mic back about 5.5 inches. Let's hear how that sounds. So that already sounds really good, guys. I could tell there's a little bit of harshness there that I can trim off. I could trim that off probably just by using the high and low cut within the parametric EQ. And some of that, I mean, let's try this out. Some of that can probably just be taken away by bringing this mic in a little bit. Let's pull that mic in to about 3.5, and let's pull it to the cap edge. That sounds sick. So I'm really liking the way this is sounding. I think this is going to be a pretty easy amp to dial in. Dare I say, I'm probably jinxing myself here, but I could just tell by just the default settings right off the bat on it. It sounds really good. A couple things that I want to achieve on this. I definitely want to tighten up the low end. I can hear flubbiness in that low end, so we're going to tighten that up, probably by adding an overdrive pedal. I think I know which one I want to use for this particular setup. And by shaping the amp parameters for sure, looking at the master, looking at the drive, all the things, right? I'm going to kick us off on this loop here. As always, it's pretty repetitive, but I'm just really looking for something that has, you know, some good chugs in it, some palm mutes. I'm just going to start from scratch. All right, I took the high cut all the way down. So you could hear right here at the 140, you hear that flubbiness. We took out a lot of that low end, but there's still a little bit of flubbiness down there. It's a little too loose for my liking. So let's pull that low cut up a little higher. Let's keep it at 180 for now. We can always come back and adjust it. And where's the first time that, as I pull this high cut up, I'm paying attention to what the first time it sounds good to my ear will be. I'd say about 3 kilohertz. And let's see how high it can go before it gets too harsh. Getting a little spicy at 6. And 8, it becomes very, very... There's a certain quality to it that's a little harsh to my ears. So we're looking between 3 and 6 on this. And I like my amps a little darker. Let's keep it there. So 180 hertz on the low cut, 4 kilohertz on the high cut. Let's hear how that sounds. Sounds pretty good. So that's a starting point for us. Let's move over to the cab lock, and I've already kind of messed around with the mic a little bit here, but let me throw the loop on again, and I'm just going to reposition the mic just a little bit. So again, guys, this is your first time watching my videos. What I'm doing on all the parameters that I play around with here is I'm using my ear to pay attention to where what I call them, the break points are. So I'm looking at the numbers and I'm seeing which bands make a significant difference, right? So putting that mic dead center obviously is a significant difference from taking it all the way to the edge, and that's obvious, right? But how far from the center can you go before you have another break? So even between the center and the cap, which I usually like to put the mic around, it's a very minimal difference, in my opinion. And then right around 3.5, I heard a little bit of a frequency change there. And I can already tell I kind of like it right around the cap edge. Let's keep it at 2. And let's mess around with the distance one more time here. So really boomy when you move it all the way right up to the cap edge speaker. When you move it up to the cap edge of the speaker. Let's pull it back and let's just kind of trust our ears here. What sounds good? Everything's going to be subjective here. Gotta find that perfect balance. Alright guys, I think I'm going to land there. So, got the position on 2, the distance at 5 inches back, and once again I'm using a 160 ribbon. I think that sounds pretty good for a start, right? Alright, now we're going to go over to the amp parameters. We have a drive, bass, mid, treble, presence, channel volume, master. So nothing out of the ordinary here, guys, from what we've seen on the previous amp models, except for the mid boost. And I do know that the actual amp itself has a mid boost on it. It already defaulted on. I actually just want to hear what it sounds like without the mid boost now. So I'm going to just play the loop one more time and let's just A and B that. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that mid boost is... That mid boost is hot. I like that mid boost though. That's fantastic. All right, so we're keeping the mid boost on. And first thing we're going to look to dial in is the drive and the master. So let's understand what the relationship between the drive and the master is here. I'm going to pull that drive down. Tightens up that low end really nicely when you pull that drive down. You know, I always find it interesting, guys. The drive impacts amps definitely differently, right? Each amp has its own circuitry and it's based on the actual amps. But some amps, when you pull the drive down to 1, you'll barely hear any volume whatsoever. And then you have to compensate with the channel volume or elsewhere within the signal chain at the end or whatever. This amp, you can pull it all the way down and you still have decent volume. Okay, let's keep the drive at 2, and now let's mess around with the master. Let's pull it all the way down. And let's dial that up now. I'm listening to see if there's a certain band in here that really delineates one number from another. So, as always, with the master, I feel like the higher you go with the master, the more various artifacts you're going to get, and you're going to get, you know, if you have a frequency in there that's rumbling to begin with, you're just going to get more of that rumbly type of frequency. If you have something that's harsh to begin with, it's going to elevate that harshness. where I always wind up landing on the master is between 5.5 and 6.5. And that's just kind of become something that I'm subjectively, it's a subjective opinion of mine, I guess. Let's keep it at 6. And now let's drive that drive. Let's pull that drive all the way up. That sweet saturation. Take his bass down a little bit. That sounds pretty nice, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Let's go back to the loop here, and we're gonna adjust the rest of the parameters on the actual amp itself. So let's take that drive down to a level where it sounds pretty reasonable, nice and tight. Keep it about 2.3. Let's hear what this bass does when you boost it up. Check the mid out. Scoop the mid. Trust in my ears here, guys. I really have no rhyme or reason as to where I'm putting these parameters at. Just keep the mid on 5 for now. So the treble in the presence, as the synopsis on the Helix help site called out, it's gonna probably play a big difference in this. So to start, let's turn the presence down to 5, and let's play with the treble. Man, boosting that treble actually has a pretty pleasing sound, to be honest. Let's put the treble down to 5, and then let's play with the presence. Don't be afraid to try things out, guys. Drop the sag and the hum down. And let's hear what the ripple does. right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. It sounds pretty good to my ears as a starting point. Likely going to go back and readjust it before the end of the video. From here, let's go ahead and throw in a distortion pedal, overdrive pedal in front of the amp. And this time I'm going to go with the distortion pedal that I'm going to try out today is going to be the compulsive drive. It's based on the full tone OCD. So let's go ahead and throw that into the front of the amp, and here's the default sound. Here, let's hear what that sounds like. Man, that is some heavy stuff right there. So this is definitely a really nice pedal for high gain tones. And I've never really played around with this pedal, so I'm not really sure, how the peak type or how the versions make the pedal vary. I'm going to leave those where they came for now. I probably will mess around with them in a second. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn the loop back on. I'm going to push the drive down, the drive on the amp down, and then I want to play around with the drive on the actual pedal and see what kind of different reactions I can get out of the amp. Let's turn that gain all the way down. And keep the tone at 5 for now. And let's boost the level. While we're here, let's check out the peak type, low versus high. I think it just makes that way more saturated. Yeah, I definitely don't need that extra saturation. And let's try V2 versus V4. I hear a little bit of a change in the frequencies. The V4 actually sounds a little nicer to my ear. It sounds like it gives a little more clarity to it. So I'm just going to trust it and go with the V4 on this. All right, let's get this. Man, that really tightened up the low end nicely there. Let's go back into the amp and push the drive up. I'm trying to see if I can get rid of that kind of that flubby sound on bottom. All right, let's go back into the drive here. Pull this up to 8, the level. Let's throw a little bit of that gain on there. just fun, guys. It's just fun playing around on the Helix. All right. Now what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to find the balance point, right? It's like a balancing beam, and I'm trying to balance all these different parameters together. The parameters on the amp itself, the drive and the master, versus the level that I'm pushing into the front of the amp and the gain that's coming out of the compulsive drive. I don't need a whole lot of gain because the amp is already just a beast of a high gain amp. You can already tell that, I just have a plethora of gain going into the amp. I'm going to turn this drive down a little bit. Get a little bit of height. All right, so what I did there, guys, I noticed that I think I had a little too much high cut pulled out. So I went back into the parametrics and I just brought it up from 4 kilohertz to 5. And as simple as that. And I feel like that suits the tone a little bit better. See, as you mess around with the parameters, you're going to go back to these because, as you add more treble and more, more presence and mess around with the bass, you're going to want to adjust your high cuts and your low cuts by the end. So, let's go back to the loop one more time, guys. I'm just going to kind of go through, try to dial in this tone to the best of my abilities, to my ear's liking, and then we're going to go from there. Once you hear the loop so many times, it's just gets burned into your brain. But anyways, guys, all right, I think I'm going to land at this. So I just went back in. I'm sped it all up for you guys. But basically, I went back in, and here's the adjustments that I made. So on the OCD, I have no gain at all on the OCD going to the front of the amp, but I have a 9 level, the version 4, and I have the tone at 5.5. That's probably something, the tone is something that I'll certainly go back and adjust, depending on my needs. If I'm doing a solo or if I'm doing rhythms or something like that, it basically just boosts a certain EQ frequency to help you cut through the mix. But, the reason why I took the gain all the way down the OCD is because the OCD just adds so much saturation especially into the ENGL, where the ENGL really doesn't need any more saturation, any more help with that. So it just needs a little bit of more level to hit the front end harder on the amp there. So on the drive on the ENGL itself, I have the drive at 2.0, got the bass around 4, mid around 5.7, treble 6.9, presence 8.3. So I had these reversed before. I had the treble higher than the presence, and I noticed that the treble was bringing and introducing a frequency at that high end when it was rolled all the way up that was a little unpleasant. Rolled that down, brought the presence up, and the frequencies that the presence boosted did sound pleasing to my ears. So I just kind of eared it out, put it up a little higher than the treble. That was all that I did there. Master at 5, So I took that down from 6. I felt like that cleaned up the low end a little bit on it. And I kept the mid boost on. I also went back into the cab, played around with the mic a little bit. I went to 3, which is a little bit beyond the cap edge, and I pulled the mic back to 6 inches, which that combination right there, it helped really even out the tone, in my opinion, versus where I started at, which had just a lot of harshness in the high end, and I felt like this helped even it out a little bit. So yeah, so here's how it sounds. All right, guys. So I think I'm pretty much good with how that sounds. There might be a little bit more dialing in that'll happen before the end of the video. But as always, I'm going to go ahead and add a delay to this tone just because I like to do that. So let's see. Let's go with a vintage delay. Okay, let's go with a vintage delay. I'm kind of familiar with this one here. So let's hear how that sounds by default. Not bad. All right, guys, I'm going to take one more second to dial this in and to just really give everything a quick polish, and I'll be right back in a second. All right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it here. So I went back in, kind of gave everything one more polish up, and really the major changes that I made were in the parametric EQ, actually. So I wound up carving what I would call a surgical EQ here. I put the Qs at 1.7 each to reduce the size of the band of frequencies that we're carving out, but I essentially cut out a little bit of low gain around 245. And on the mid frequency, I cut 1.7 dB from the 3.5 kilohertz band. And on the high frequency, I cut 7 dB, once again, on the 9 kilohertz band. So let's just hear what that sounds like with the EQ bypassed and it not bypassed. So this is with the EQ. And bypassed. Hear that, guys? I like that. And so, as you can tell, I lost a lot of volume in that parametric EQ block, but that's why it allows you to raise the level here to make up for it. I don't particularly need to right now, but if I did, one thing to note, if you raise the volume, the level here, it's going to impact, the delay that you have in front of it. It would impact any type of modulation effects, and it certainly will impact the compressor at the end there. It'll change the flavor flavor of the sound, if you will. But yeah, so that I think that EQ sounds really nice to my ears. I kind of like the tightness that it brings into play. That's it. So let me just play that tone for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Actually, this amp was a little more challenging than I thought it would be. Once again, I'm doing all this for the very first time, guys, as far as trying these amps out. And what I'm learning already, many things I've learned, but what I'm really starting to learn is that some of the high gain amps are actually kind of challenging to get right because there's just so much gain that if you put a distortion in front of it, you know, you really have to balance everything out. And this was probably one of the higher gain amps that I've ever tried, where it was a little too much gain. I had to dial the, as you guys see here, I dialed the drive all the way back to 2, and then had no gain or no distortion whatsoever within the OCD pedal. And it's like, there's just so much gain that it's hard to know what to do with it. So, no, it was definitely a fun challenge for me today, and I really enjoyed it. If you guys liked it, please leave a like. Feel free to subscribe, watch some of my other videos. And as always, I'm going to put this tone on the custom tone that'll be linked in the description. You guys can grab it for free. And, you know, let me know what you guys think. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Until next time, have a good one.